I'm Trevor Lund from RevTrev.com, and in this episode of Counseling Corner with Cheryl Shea, we are once again with Cheryl Shea of EdmontonCounselingServices.com. Cheryl is helping me to answer questions from RevTrev readers, and I do thank you for all of your questions and comments, and if you respond to my newsletters, or if you come to RevTrev.com and ask your question. I do my best to answer them and get professional help if I need it. So that's what Cheryl's here for.
No comment on that one.
That's a wide open one right there. Cheryl, question today comes from a new Christian. He says, I am a new Christian. Why haven't things changed? He's struggling with sin. He wants to change. He wants to improve. He's listening to people speak. He's reading. I think he says he's reading his Bible. He should be reading his Bible if he doesn't. Everything the pastors say. He doesn't say he's reading his Bible. My goodness. I found that the key. There's so many people. The Word cleans us, right? Like it's the Word of God that cleans us. And then we just assume that we can either be cleaned by the Word of God or we can be cleaned by circumstance. And too many of us are do the stupid thing and be cleaned by circumstance. Anyway, Cheryl, what do you say to him? Why? Well, I was promised the good life. Why hasn't it come?
I remember when I first really had an encounter with Christ that everything was wonderful for a while, like a week or two. And then for a period of time, things got quite a bit more difficult. In my head, I had a lot of doubts, actually, intellectual doubts. And so I had to kind of work through those, which bothered me for a long time until I realized, gee, pretty much, every other Christian has had these intellectual doubts. I could read C.S. Lewis and I could read some other authors and I could get answers to those questions. So that was actually the easy part. The hard part was my life. My habits, my personality, my sin. This individual, I don't know what their life was before coming to Christ, but sometimes, quite honestly, our life is a mess. And it's like a big ball of yarn with a bunch of knots in it. And you can't just pick up the yarn and shake it and hope all the knots will come out. It takes time to untangle them. So if you've been in a financial mess, not knowing how to handle money, God isn't going to automatically give you the lottery because you still don't have those good habits on how to handle money. So you need to understand from the Word what God says about money, but you also maybe need to talk to someone about how to budget and how to live within your means. If you are a relational disaster before you come and you've got really bad patterns of relating to people, you need to learn differently how to do that. So again, that comes from reading the Word. We had another question about how do I deal with a friend that's become difficult. I mean, we can read Ephesians and it says submit to each other out of reverence for Christ, but knowing what that means and how to do it is a different thing. So in those areas of struggle with this individual, I would say he needs, I think back in my Christian life, I was in grade 11. I'll just give this as an example. I was in grade 11 and I had a group of gals I hung around with in high school, and we were kind of the bottom of the pile people. But my one friend, when I became a believer, I found out she already was. And she really discipled me. I had not the best friendships that I would have liked. I thought drinking was stupid and smoking pot was stupid, so I never did any of that. But I had a real lack of relational skills in my life because of my family upbringing and some of the other things that I had experienced myself. And one day I always remember we were sitting in it was called the Common Room at John Taylor Collegiate. Anyone from John Taylor Collegiate out there? And we were sitting around and we were gossiping about this one other gal who had been a friend of mine, deeply hurt me, and none of these other people decided they liked her either. And my friend, whose name was Virginia, she just would keep changing the subject. And I realized after she kept changing the subject. And we're walking down the hall, heading off to class after lunch this day. And she just turns around and she says to me, Cheryl, if you are going to be a Christian, you can't gossip about people, even if they've hurt you really badly. It's wrong. And I went, oh. And I stopped doing that. It wasn't easy, but I stopped doing it. But the point is, when you come to Christ, it's really important not just that you hear sermons and do those things, but that you have people in your life that mentor you. Whether that's a friend, a pastor, that's my phone, someone who walks those things through with you. So I'm not sure who's calling. It's probably a telemarketer. But I guess we'll just kind of close it at that then.
Yeah, well, I was just going to, we probably could, but...
Go ahead.
I've got something else.
I
just noticed that he was saying, too, that he's been in the same boat since he repented 3 years ago. And, you know, those kind of statements absolutely, they drive me here. Because we've bought into a system in church that says unless you've been a Christian 20 years, you're not going to be cleaned up. You know,
okay.
And the thing that just blows me away is when Paul told Titus was it Titus or Timothy? You know, don't pick a neophyte, don't pick a newly planted person to be an elder in the church.
Right.
That church, there was no Christian there 2 years before that. You know, it was 2 years of maturity they needed before they could be elders. And we have this system that says, yeah, sit and listen to me. But the difference was exactly what you said. If you could have someone walk alongside you and just say, while you're walking, guess what? Gossiping, you're a Christian, don't gossip anymore. That penny drops just like that, instead of hearing the sermon on how, you can don't kill and don't gossip is in the same verse. And so what do you get focused on? Well, I'm not a killer, so I'm pretty good. The whole system needs to change. 3 years. I mean, God bless them. Like, I mean, I know people for 20 years that haven't matured.
Yeah.
But I mean, the goal in this thing is spiritual maturity. And it doesn't really happen by sitting and listening to sermons. It happens by doing life and applying the Bible to your life. And oh my goodness.
Yeah, a pastor of mine said once in his sermon that really we're not going to do sermons anymore, because if sermons changed people, then all the Christians in all the churches should be perfect.
Yeah.
And people didn't like that because they like sermons, they like to learn.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily change you. You need someone speaking into your life to say what you're doing there isn't great.
Yeah.
It's not biblical. You need to change.
There's something there, because we need to have that education, but learning isn't just education. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, Cheryl. I hope that phone call wasn't important.
I'm sure it was a telemarketer. God bless them all.
I've started to witness to people who try to hack my computers. Anyway, we'll catch you next time on EdmontonCounselingServices.com. And check out what's the name of your book, Cheryl? Let's promo that.
Soul Surgeon, which is for people to deal with the wounds in their life, but also to help others as well. So if you're a leader in a church or Bible study, it will give you some tools to help people walk through the different wounds that we experience in our lives emotionally.
And you train people how to do this, right? Like you've done seminars and workshops, and it's something you could do anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah, actually I could. If people would like to fly me someplace warmer in January, I would love to come.
January and February, wide open for good seminars all over the place. Okay. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.